Welcome to Profiletraders. This is Reza and you're listening to my market analysis for October the 1st. What continues to be an extraordinary aggressive back and forth in this market continues, and after having seen support building down there at an area of support, and that area of support was very specific. If you put 120 minutes chart, you can see that we came and retested the area from where last time the big buyer showed up, and that area was defended, and as a result we saw a bounce coming into the market from a very oversold situation. And especially the fact was that we came and reached support from 1950 straight to 1860. So when you drop 100 points like that, almost, it is very difficult to be able to break any kind of a significant support, because you have already spent a lot of energy when you get down there. So now we have a little uptrend in place, and do not be surprised at all to see a lot of strength going into the next coming week to 10 days, because this is what you call the gambling season. This is where you take your cash and go to the casino and you bet on earnings. You pick some nice companies and you bet. This is the betting season. So when betting season goes on, money comes into the market because they like to bet. They want to bet on Amazon to see how much Bezos sold his junk online. They want to bet on Apple to see how many iPhone and iPad and iDis and iDat they sold. And that is why, since we entered this earnings season, they bought very strongly into an oversold market, and now every time there is a pullback, unlike before, support is coming in, because the gambling money is now here to support the market all the way when the numbers are out and the bets are done and over with. So we are now in a very strong position in the market, even though that we will continue to see 40-50 points fluctuation as if it was hot cake. This morning, as we dropped, I told the room 1890 to 1894 was where support was gonna come in, and that's exactly where we nailed the low. And from that point on, we managed to entirely retrace the overnight range and go back up to its very high. So now your number one support area comes from 1904 to 1900. Below that, the same amount or the same level that I released this morning. Until we remain above 1900, up move should continue. There are two POCs to target up there, 1924 and 1936. The 1936-1940 will provide a little bit of resistance, because we will be hitting that upper resistance line. But if we do clear it, I would not be surprised at all. Usually the rule of thumb is that if you're a gambler, you buy into the weakness prior to the month of earnings, and you ride it all the way towards the 15 or the 20 of the month of earnings, which should be October 20th. And then from that point on, when the numbers are out and they can see how good or how bad companies did, then they take their profits, and then that is why usually end of October can become quite violent and volatile in terms of a drop. Now for crude. We need to discuss several things because all these things are very important for the fundamentals of crude. Number one, as you witnessed the absolute disaster, catastrophic event of yesterday, when in a matter of one single week, this brilliant genius war mind, Mr. Putin, took over Middle East entirely in a matter of 1 week. While he was here shaking hand of Hussein at the UN, and while Hussein was busy romancing Hassan from Iran, he was preparing his troops to go with a full-blown attack of opposition of Assad in Syria. And the way that he notified the United States was by sending one of his drunken generals to our embassy in Iraq and tell the staff over there that they had 1 hour to clear the airspace of Syria before he would start the bombing. So now you have an alliance between Iran, you have an alliance between Russia to completely and totally take over the Middle East. And the United States is nowhere to be found. And this is a very, very concerning event, because now Putin has control over the gas pipelines of Europe and his hand on the most and the biggest oil reserves, fueling the engine and the economy of the world. As a result, uncertainty is back again into this market, and this market now will become extremely news sensitive. And the other event is that with this sustained drop of price of oil, many of these young fracking companies that were a fabulous thing for the US economy and the future of our energy independence are out of the business. Therefore, that amount of supply that was coming into the pipelines are gone. So you take that, you add it to the Middle East uncertainty, you add it to the fact that winter is also coming, there could be very much so upside pressures as you saw in today, any given then moving forward. But something also important happened here. The important thing that happened here is that on a daily basis we try to exit this triangle, matter of fact on very high volume, and everybody that went long above the 46 break up is now cut. It's cut because we broke the triangle and we ended up coming back closing into it. There could be a swift jitter to the downside once we do break below 43.8. But I do suspect that upon the break of 43.8 there will be no meltdown because of the reasons that I just mentioned, and price will from that point on return back up and bounce. If we continue to remain above 43.8, one should keep a very close eye on this possible second attempt of a triangle break up, which if successful, meaning that we need to close a good portion above the trend line of the trend line, then next target up should be $50. Right now, for anything bullish to happen, we have to trade ourselves back above 45.85. We do that, we can easily go back challenge the 47. We remain below that, well, like I said, 44.30 is level number 1 to take a very close look at. If this level breaks, then the line in the sand is 43.8. Now let's look at the orphan. He's still full of dust, full of piss, full of poop. His diaper smells and nobody wants to pick it up. So he's left down there abandoned, lack of interest, lack of enthusiasm, just at the border of a massive fallout, because as I mentioned the last time, on a daily, we are at a very important trend line. However, the good news for the orphan could be that we are at a breaking point, but there is very, very, very little sell interest. If this sell interest starts to persist, or this lack of sell interest starts to persist, and we maintain ourselves down here by holding, then everybody that is short from 11.55 down to here is going to start to feel nervous, and the nervousness with a little bit of buying interest, we could then bounce very seriously while holding this uptrend line. If we do break this trend line, of course we will have to deal with 1100 and see what we do with 1100 down there. If that level breaks, then it's wide open to drop to 1080, and also we will have a head and shoulder in place for a breakdown. If we do hold, upside objective is the other side of the channel, while of course taking into account that before we get up there, we will have to clear this top at 1156, 1160. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. This was Reza with Profiletraders. If you wish to learn market profile, you can get all my courses and 1 year to my trading room for $550 money back guaranteed. And the other guaranteed is that you will not get a deal similar to that with those courses anywhere else. That I can guarantee as well. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you tomorrow.